Hi, Joe Cerrone.
And Alan Rosen.
Welcome to CAD 116 Basic AutoCAD and our weekly Zoom classroom meeting. We've released Module 7. Module 7 is on dimensioning, and we have two assignments in here. You're to choose either one, right? Choose one, either the mechanical or the architectural drawing, right, Al?
That's correct. That's correct.
And as we look at the calendar of upcoming events, Module 6 is due this Sunday. If we kind of track down to Module 6, it was this floor plan drawing. And then Module 7, which we're releasing today, will be due on November 13th. And then Module 8 is active. You can see it in the content section. It's on analysis commands. But we're just starting to line things up before we go into Thanksgiving, which will be, you can check the academic calendar. We'll be posting an announcement for that. But as we start to go through the course, we're covering Module 7, which is on dimensioning. So if we take a look at the content area and we go to Module 7, you're to pick either this mechanical drawing or this architectural drawing. Now the mechanical drawing has a kind of a cookbook approach to it. And so here's the video that demonstrates how to work with these mechanical drawing and these dimensioning commands. It's a little dated. We'll work on updating that, but the dimensioning aspects are still the same. You still go through and create these mechanical dimension styles. And then as we come back here, it actually has step-by-step instructions. Whoops. Right here in the mechanical lab. And so as we go through this project description, we have this object that you draw. And actually, I think we download this object. Is that correct, Al?
Yes, sir.
So you can download this object in the Chapter 7s and labs. Let's see if it's in the main splash page. If not, we'll put it there. It's not, so let's go get it from the link. And so here it is. It's in the OpenCAD Module 7. I'm just going to put it in there right now. I'm going to pause the video while I do that. So resuming, as we look at this mechanical lab, we have the instructions and a video. Here's our video. Here are the instructions for creating that. And you don't have to draw the lab. We've located that in D2L. If you come back here to Chapter 7 in Labs, and you go down to the last link, here's our drawing, and you can download that, open it, and it's right here. And so that'll get you started as far as being able to go through and then to create these dimensioning techniques following the mechanical lab instructions or the video, either one. And so it walks you through creating like this 4-inch linear dimension. So we could come back here and we could say on the annotate tab, we would go through and say linear. Linear means horizontal or vertical. They used to have two separate commands, but they do not anymore. Be sure to put the dimensions on the dimension line layers. And so as you go through and you create this drawing, we'll need a dimension line layer. Typically I'll make that green, make it a little darker so it shows up with continuous line type. And when you work with the line weights, something like 0.3 for dimensions would be perfect. You can expand these out if you want to see by double clicking on them. And then we can put that on our dimension line layer. So that's the mechanical lab. If we take a look at the architectural lab looks like this. And this is a straight up, you have to draw the drawing. If I change the color of the door, we can make it maybe a little bit easier to see. the door layer. And so basically it's these closet doors. They're kind of narrow. This one's 2 feet 6, and this one's 3 feet. And then they have this molding on them. And everything is detailed and dimensioned. You should set up the dimension in a viewport, have the viewport scaled, and create the drawing in model space. My tabs are missing, so I'm going to just go to model space with tile mode, set that to 1, and you can go through and set up your dimensions using the architectural title block we have in D2L. So choose one drawing or the other, lab number 7, and then the reading assignment in the outline of topics. If we go through just to touch base so that we know our exit points, go to outline of topics, and you can go ahead and click on the outline of topics. And so Al's got these all color coded. We are using a new book, so if you see some of the older content in there, we're updating it as we go. And so today is November 3rd, and we're looking at the chapter 28 and 29 from AutoCAD Instructor. And so I've got my digital textbook here, chapter 28, as we look at our learning outcomes. Be able to create a variety of dimensions using DIM, be able to work with linear dimensions, and then they have these other techniques like DIM continue, angular diameter, adding quick leaders, quick dimensions, and then to be able to add geometric dimensions and tolerancing for those of you mechanical people. And so as we go through, a lot of it is terminology and concepts, things like terminology, dimension text, dimension line, because you'll see that in the textbook as they go through and teach you how to put dimensions down and standardize them. And so dimensions are an important component to mechanical design, and then being able to make them look correct on paper. These are the instructions for how to do that. And so putting in these different types of dimensions are demonstrated here. Things like align dimensions, which would be like parallel. Baseline dimensions. And so chapter 28 goes through these different dimensioning techniques. It's a great way to kind of reference it. You can also look at the video for the instructions to create the dimensions within our drawing. Dimensions are what's called associative, which means that if you change the geometry, then the dimensions will update on the drawing as well. And so it's good practice to be able to keep that associativity, and that way if the drawing updates, the dimensions update with that. And then as we look at the next chapter, and this is just more on dimensioning, and we're not using these techniques, and so a lot of what we like the AutoCAD Instructor book for is because it's a great reference, and we use that for all 3 classes, right, Al?
Yes, sir.
And that way, if you take the intermediate class and the advanced class and you decide to get certified, that same book will carry you through. Things like ordinal dimensions. And so it's like a math book. It has every different way to do or create dimensions and dimension styles. So if you're taking the 117 and looking at how to add GD and T symbols, this is where you would look to find that information. Dimensioning is pretty complicated. There's quite a bit here to it. So I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit more. Didn't realize it was quite this long. Dimension styles basically are like templates for creating these different dimensions. And again, we cover a lot of this in the intermediate AutoCAD, but the concept's very much like word processing, where you'll have the font, you'll have the text size, you'll have the arrows and things like that, which we have pretty well set up for you in the drawings in the title blocks. And so as you're improving your knowledge and you're reading the book, keep on task by following through the outline of topics and going through and reading chapter 28, 29, and then work on module 7. Module 7 is to create architectural drawings or create a mechanical drawing. So as we take a quick look to review, you're to choose either the mechanical or the architectural drawing, and you're to dimension and annotate that per the directions. Oakton CAD, here's our link. It's kind of going away, but there's some really good content there if you're interested. Here's a video on the mechanical lab. Here's the architectural drawing for those of you who are following an architectural path. And then here's the student drawing for the mechanical drawing. All right, back to the main splash page. Al, is there anything else that we want to cover before I end the Zoom meeting and open things up for questions?
No, just notification that you can come on our Sunday morning class over in P132 or our Wednesday morning class in the same area in Skokie P132 for extra help.
And what time is it at on Sunday, Al?
They start at 9 o'clock, ends at about 12:30, quarter to 1 in the area. And on Wednesday starts at 9 o'clock. We'll get there about 8:30 and ends at about the same time, about 1 o'clock.
Right. So if you want some in-person assistance, come in on Sunday, 9 a.m., room P132 at the Skokie campus. All right. Thanks, Al. I'm going to stop the recording and open things up for questions.
Outstanding.